Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy, and I wanted to introduce the workbook for the Art History Tarot for Past Lives. So the deck comes from Red Orchid Publishing. It's essentially self-published. Red Orchid Publishing was created by the creator of the deck, and so obviously I have the deck here, and it comes, well, does it come with, or do you order separately? No, I can't remember. I think it comes with, or you can order it both ways. A guidebook. So you have a guidebook that has black and white image about the art, which I think is wonderful and respectful and great for those of us who are into art history. A traditional tarot card association, what she calls root energy, basic keywords or key phrases, how it would play out in a past life, an alternative interpretation, a place associated with it, and a time associated with it. So every card has that stuff. And so that's amazing enough, really, that she has gone to that trouble. But this takes things even a step further. You know, for people who love correspondences, it's like she's created her own set of correspondences for a tarot deck. There's what we have in here. You've got a place and a time, and of course she's got sons and daughters and plagues and India and China and, you know, all kinds of different places. So she's created those associations. And then this workbook creates another set of associations. So this is 21 days. It's 7 times 3. So let's take a look. She talks a little bit about her spiritual grounding, where she's at with that, which is a combination of Christian and pagan witchy. She feels no reason to be just one or the other. The book starts with what she calls a pre-assessment, and she talks about the grounding and protection type rituals and takes you through steps for creating your own invocation, which is really interesting. I find it really interesting how she breaks down what she has traditionally done and created questions to invite you to create your own original. And how to bring it all together at the end. She has a background in teaching, and you can see that very clearly in this first section. How she's done things. She has a pre-assessment for essentially for how you're reading the cards. And then she talks about spiritual essence. So it's called spiritual essence spreads. So this is, so if you're the assumption here is that even though you're going through various lives, that you have some core spiritual essence. And so this is a whole set of correspondences for the whole deck, so that if you pull a given card or cards, you can pinpoint your spiritual essence. So say I pull the Star. My spiritual essence is faithful, rarely to never struggles to have faith for the future. And if my spiritual essence card is the Four of Wands, we have stable emotionally and physically. If it is the Nine of Swords, it's intense connection to spirituality through dreams with spiritual messages. And then if it's the Four of Swords, acute compassion for the sick and suffering. So, you know, these are your like core spiritual essence is how she's seeing this. And so she has some spreads regarding that. You've got 3 cards for spiritual essence, so you're not one-dimensional. And then what impact do these qualities have on this life? And what qualities, what about these qualities makes me vulnerable? And then it goes on. Here we have the essence, this life, and a past life. So how it's showing up in these different lives. And then here, I'm not going to go through it. I don't know if I'll do these on my channel or not. Okay, so that was 3 days about your spiritual essence. And then this is a deeds and events chart. So every card is associated with a deed or event. So if the deed or event from a past life is the Five of Swords, it's a nasty conflict. If it's the Three of Wands, it's good karma from past lives. If it's the Page of Pentacles, caring for the earth and animals. So every card is associated with a particular deed or event. And then we have 3 different spreads regarding that, supposedly done over 3 days. I could see maybe doing 1 a week probably would work better for me, be more my pace. And then there is a spiritual blockage. So she creates associations, essentially correspondences with spiritual blockages. So if my spiritual blockage is the Ace of Swords, it's being honest with yourself is a spiritual blockage. If it's the Ten of Pentacles, becoming too comfortable is a spiritual blockage. If it's the Eight of Swords, you won't face your fears. So these are kind of your tripping points in spiritual development. And then you have 3 spreads regarding that. Supposedly done over 3 days, but it's pretty, I think it would probably be some pretty intense information. It would be hard to do it just in 3 days, that you would probably need to sit with one of these spreads for a while before going on to the next one. So the next set of 3 is the soul contract reference guide. So she has made associations or correspondences for every card for soul contract references. So if it's the Two of Pentacles, contract involves performance art. If it's the Knight of Cup, the contract has to do with true friendship. If it's the Six of Cups, it's deep family bonds. If it's strength, it is heal a deep wound between you. So, soul contract. So, you know, you do have to kind of buy into the whole idea of soul contracts, just like you have to buy into the idea of past lives. But it's, and she pretty much says at the beginning, take from this what works for you. So if you decide you don't ever want to consult this or worry about soul contract information when doing a reading for somebody, then you don't have to, or for yourself. So the next set of correspondences is phobia and fears. So even though she calls this a workbook, I mean, it's providing loads more information than is even in the guidebook, which I think is probably a good thing, because I think the guidebook, just the concept, I think can be a little overwhelming for people to start working with a deck in this way. So I think if she had poured it all into the guidebook, it would probably intimidate people. But here it is, phobia and fears reference. You know, if it's the Four of Cups, afraid of losing yourself. If it's the Five of Pentacles, afraid of destitution. If it's the Hermit, afraid of losing your individuality. And so onward we go. So essentially there are 7 sets of correspondences here. So the next one is dream interpretation. And in the back, I think this is the last one, she has extra, her expectation is that you will fill things in the first part of the book, that you'll be jotting things in here. And then she provides you with blanks in case you either want to do it again or want to hold your own workshop regarding this stuff, or whatever the case may be. But in the back, she has these dream journal worksheets so that you can start collecting your dreams over the first couple of weeks. I think this is for people like me to start early, she says, because she knows some people don't remember their dreams, and I tend not to. So she provides these so that you can start collecting your dreams, and then that will help you with the spreads for this particular set of 3 days. Oh, I hear coyotes. I hear coyotes screaming out there. So this is dream interpretation reference. So 6 of Swords, you need to move or take a trip. The 5 of Wands, somebody wants to compete with you. So these, you know, these are dream reference correspondences. And the last one is Life Goals Guide. So if the Knight of Swords is my life goal, it means to fight on behalf of others. If the Four of Cups is my life goal, it is to develop a passion. If the Seven of Wands is my life goal, it is to establish boundaries with others. The Four of Pentacles, to acquire savings for posterity. So there you go. And another set of spreads for days 19, 20, and 21. And then again pulling some cards and just seeing how you're able to read them. So just testing your new facility with the deck and how you're able to read with it. And then this section is our blanks so that you can photocopy them. So you can photocopy them and do them again, or do them with somebody else, or give them to somebody else that's doing this with you, something like that. So this ended up being, you know, with all of these correspondences, being very meaty. Even if you don't do the exercises, it's very meaty. And I do intend to do the exercises. I want to get to know this deck more, and it's a beautiful deck with all of the art in it. But it almost, my one hesitation is that I've already had some good readings with this deck for my own, reading on some issues that I have and my own kind of way of using it. And so I'm not sure if the exercises in this book will quite jibe with the way I've already started to use it and the way it sort of speaks to me and makes sense to me. However, it does offer essentially other ways to use the deck that I wouldn't have thought about, other ways to explore past lives that I wouldn't have thought about. My way that I have started to use it is to think of something that is clearly an ongoing issue in a person's life, and then exploring that as a past life issue. So this, brings up, exploring phobias, exploring life goals from the past. So it really opens up that aspect of it, in the different ways that one can glean information from a past life. So I will probably do this. I don't know the extent to which I'll actually do it on my channel. I think it might be a worthwhile exercise. I don't see why I wouldn't, except that it would just be creating probably more videos that are like 45 and 50 minutes long that are essentially about me that don't hold that much interest to others. But it might hold interest to people who have this deck, are thinking about this deck, are wondering whether to get the workbook and what the workbook might have to offer in terms of additional perspectives on the cards, how, whether some of these explorations that she goes into and provides all these correspondences for seem to provide useful information. Anyway, all right, so I'm going to call this done. It was essentially, I just wanted to introduce this Past Lives workbook and kind of the substance of it, because that hadn't been clear to me from prior to my getting it, trying to figure out what kind of use it would be. Now I see that it really provides a lot of extra information that could potentially be used with each card. Alrighty, so I will leave it at that. Take care, everybody, and see you again soon. Bye-bye.